Did you go to Manila again, George?
Oh no, I didn't even want to go that time.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're looking at celebrities that are banned from entire countries.
If she comes, she will die in Indonesia.
For this list, we'll be looking at 20 famous people who have been denied entry into certain countries. This could be in the form of a visa rejection, deportation, or an outright ban. We'll be considering permanent bans as well as temporary ones that were eventually overturned. Do you think any of these bans were justified? Let us know in the comments. Claire Danes, the Philippines. In 1998, Claire Danes was a fresh-faced 19-year-old actress, still riding the wave of her leading role in the 1996 film adaptation of Romeo and Juliet. That year, she was cast in the movie Broke Down Palace and had to spend several weeks filming in Manila, the capital of the Philippines.
I did it because I was foolish and because I was jealous.
Danes later had very unflattering things to say about the city, painting a picture of a smelly and rat-infested place. And those are pretty kind words, compared to how she described its people. Naturally, the Manila City Council was incensed, and declared the actress persona non grata. She was prohibited from entering the entire country, and all of her movies were banned from showing.
If you are willing to serve her term and yours, your friend is pardoned.
Martha Stewart, the United Kingdom. Martha Stewart packs quite a lot in her resume. A businesswoman, lifestyle guru, baker, and an accomplished writer and TV personality.
This is an odd dish because you'll never believe you can cook pasta in so little water with all the other ingredients.
But unfortunately, her record also contains a felony conviction on charges related to stock trading fraud. In 2004, the successful entrepreneur was sentenced to 5 months in prison, but the consequences of her actions lingered much longer.
So if it was 2001, the food was expired in 1999. I mean, you would not want to eat that food.
When she tried visiting Britain in 2008, it was reported that she was denied permission to enter because of her criminal record. Stewart was scheduled to make a speech at the Royal Academy and also planned to film episodes of her TV show, but those plans were given a Great British chop. Tyler, the Creator, New Zealand. In 2014, New Zealand slammed its doors right in the face of sensational rapper Tyler, the Creator, and his hip-hop collective Odd Future. The group was billed as an opening act for a music festival headlined by Eminem, but had their visas revoked just 1 hour before the flight. Why, you ask? Well, it had something to do with a 2011 autograph signing session in Boston that became heated.
I go to the airport 2 days later, and cops show up like, hey, come here, and put me in handcuffs, and I'm like, oblivious.
According to officials, Tyler and other members of Odd Future had incited violence at the session, and so they were deemed a threat to public order.
I'm like, dude, why am I in handcuffs? Like, oh, because you started a riot.
Fortunately, the ban was lifted in 2019, so not to worry, Down Under fans, he's all yours. Gigi Hadid, China. In 2017, top American fashion model Gigi Hadid pulled out of the annual Victoria's Secret fashion show to the surprise of many. That is, except for social media users in China. A couple of months prior, Hadid had uploaded a video to her Instagram in which she was laughing while squinting her eyes, in imitation of a Buddha-shaped cookie. The clip quickly went viral, and the model was hit with a lot of backlash for what many deemed to be racially insensitive. She may have apologized and taken down the video, but what was done was done. Hadid was barred from entering the country and ended up missing the fashion show. Selena Gomez, Russia. LGBTQ+ rights have always been a very touchy subject in Russia. In 2013, the Eastern European nation enacted a federal law that was touted as a protection of traditional family values. But for many, this was deemed a crackdown on gay rights in the country. That same year, America's singer and actress Selena Gomez embarked on her Stars Dance Tour in support of her solo debut album. However, the two shows she had scheduled in St. Petersburg and Moscow were cancelled after being denied a visa by Russian immigration. Gomez was reportedly prevented from entering the country due to her outspoken support and activism for the LGBTQ+ community. Martin Scorsese, China. Martin Scorsese films are usually shrouded in controversy for their glorified use of violence and drugs, but in 1997, Scorsese found himself in murky political political waters with the release of the biopic Kundun. The film, which was a spectacular failure at the box office, detailed the life of Tibet's 14th Dalai Lama and apparently portrayed China in a negative light. It was met with heavy backlash from Chinese authorities, who effectively banned Scorsese, together with the film's screenwriter and producers, from ever stepping foot in the country.
How has your stay been? Very interesting. Your factories are very impressive.
It's even caused a strong rift between China and Disney, who refused to stop distributing the film at the behest of the country's leaders. Elton John, Egypt. Being gay himself, Elton John has been a huge advocate for LGBTQ+ rights all around the world, and undoubtedly an influence in many artists' lives. His outspoken activism has attracted just as much disapproval as it has adulation.
I said, as long as I'm alive till I'm, I will fight for people's rights.
The British singer and pianist was booked to play a private concert in Egypt, which was sponsored by Abu Dhabi telecommunications giant Etisalat. The Egyptian Musicians Union stopped the show from moving forward, however, citing John's sexuality and his anti-religious statements as their reasons for doing so. Such a clampdown on the freedom of expression just goes to show the continual need for the type of advocacy people like Elton John champion. Mike Tyson, New Zealand. In 1992, Mike Tyson was convicted of assault and sentenced to 6 years in prison. Although he only served 3 years before he was released on parole, Tyson's conviction would come to haunt him 2 decades later. The famed boxer was supposed to go on a speaking tour in New Zealand and Australia, but his plans were thrown up in the air when the New Zealand government banned him from entering the country because of his conviction. Immigration officials initially approved Tyson's visa, as proceeds from his tour would have benefited a children's charity. But after the charity cut ties with him, they quickly reversed their decision. Too bad the indigenous Maori people never got to see the distinctive face tattoo they supposedly inspired. Katy Perry, China.
I got the eye of the tiger, the fire, dancing through the fire.
Gigi Hadid was not the only celebrity who was noticeably absent from the 2017 Victoria's Secret fashion show.
Katy Perry was initially granted a Chinese visa, but at the very last minute the Chinese authorities revoked it, which shocked everyone here in Shanghai.
Katy Perry, who had been scheduled to perform at the event, was also a no-show. Perry's visa to China was revoked after it was discovered that she had worn a sunflower dress for an earlier performance in Taiwan. This was significant because the sunflower had been adopted as a symbol of hope for the anti-China protests in the island country. At some point during her Taiwanese concert, Perry also waved the country's flag, and while it may not have been her intention, this was seen as a political gesture, cementing the singer's indefinite ban from China. Lily Allen, the United States of America. The celebrity life has never been so appealing to Lily Allen. The English singer-songwriter has been open about her discomfort with the flashing lights of the paparazzi. This discomfort was made manifest when she allegedly assaulted a photographer outside a London nightclub. Her subsequent arrest remained on her record and came up when Allen tried entering the US from Australia a few months later.
Been here before, so unprepared.
She was stopped and questioned by American authorities, who stripped her of her US work visa, essentially preventing her from performing in the country. Fortunately, the ban was lifted the following year, and all was well in Sheezus-land. Justin Bieber, Argentina. Being launched into superstardom at a tender age can be quite overwhelming. This was true for Justin Bieber, who had multiple legal challenges around the world, even before he clocked 20.
He's saying that it was just a misunderstanding. He thought that it was bra and panties that were thrown on stage because it happens a lot at his concerts.
In 2013, the Love Yourself crooner got on the bad side of the Argentinian government. While on tour in Buenos Aires, Bieber's security guards, allegedly acting on his orders, attacked a paparazzo at a club. The singer was also accused of disrespecting the Argentinian flag after he kicked it off stage during one of his performances.
When a fan threw what appeared to be an Argentinian flag on stage, and then Justin did this.
All of this made a judge order his immediate arrest if he ever stepped foot in the country. With this much time passed, we wonder if it's too late for Bieber to say sorry.
Yeah, I know that I let you down. Is it too late to say sorry now?
Jay-Z, China. As he constantly addresses drugs and violence in his music, no one really goes to a Jay-Z show expecting radio-friendly songs. But we guess the Chinese government missed the memo. In 2006, the rapper was scheduled to play a concert in Shanghai, which would have been his very first time performing in China.
When my asthma was bad and my chest was weeping.
But their never-idle block button was put to use once again, and he was denied permission to enter the country. According to the concert promoter, the gig was banned by the Chinese Culture Ministry because some of Jay-Z's songs contain too much vulgar language. So, just so we're clear, celebrities, never reference Tibet, never talk to the Dalai Lama, never perform in Taiwan, and always make radio-friendly tunes. Got it?
Y'all stop me when I stop telling the truth.
Boy George, the United States of America. The androgynous lead singer of 80s new wave sensation Culture Club found his Las Vegas tour threatened when he was banned from the United States. In 2005, Boy George was arrested for drug possession and for falsely reporting a burglary. While the former charge was dropped, he pleaded guilty to the latter and had to spend 5 days picking up trash from the streets of New York. Then in 2007, he had yet another run-in with the law, this time in London, when he was charged with assaulting a male escort and holding him against his will. These incidents tainted his record and led to him being denied entry in the US the next year. Akon, Sri Lanka. If you've seen the music video for David Guetta and Akon's song Sexy Chick, you probably thought, man, these people don't look so psyched to be at this pool party.
They say she needs to slow down. The baddest thing around town.
Well, that is unless you're part of the Buddhist population of Sri Lanka. Past the scantily clad women and the half-drunken guys, one other guest invited to the party just so happened to be a statue of Buddha. The people of Sri Lanka, a country with a significant Buddhist population, definitely weren't amused by this. Hundreds of Sri Lankans marched in protest against Akon, leaving the government with no choice but to ban the music mogul from gaining access into the country.
And you can put the blame on me.
Lady Gaga, Indonesia and China. Looking back at some of the wild moments in Lady Gaga's career, it's not much of a surprise that she would be taboo in some places. While it is officially a secular state, Indonesia has the largest population of Muslims in the world, some of whom deemed Gaga to be too vulgar. This led to a ban of the pop star in 2012 and a cancellation of her concert in Jakarta.
We, the representatives of the Islamic Front for Defense, are strongly opposed to the Lady Gaga concert in Indonesia. It will harm Muslims.
Not one to miss out on the Great Firewall of China, Gaga has also been banned twice from the East Asian giant. First in 2011, also for being vulgar, and secondly in 2016, after she sat for a meeting with the Dalai Lama. Brad Pitt, China. Speaking of meeting with the Dalai Lama, Brad Pitt earned himself a ban in China when he starred in 7 Years in Tibet.
By my calculations, the Chinese border is 2,058 kilometers away. Tibet is 68. It's a long way to travel.
In the film, which was based on true events, Pitt plays Austrian mountaineer Heinrich Harrer, who befriends a young Dalai Lama after escaping from a prisoner of war camp.
Yellowhead. You have hair on your arms too? And legs?
The movie was set during the Chinese takeover of Tibet, and its portrayal of events didn't sit well with the government of China.
It's an honor to meet you, Your Holiness.
Naturally, the major parties involved in the production were all banned from ever stepping foot there. It didn't take too long for things to be settled between Pitt and China, however, as the Hollywood hunk visited the country in 2014 to promote Maleficent with his then-wife, Angelina Jolie. The Beatles, the Philippines. By 1966, the Beatles were at the peak of superstardom, having broken into international markets all around the world. That year, the group went on a tour of Germany, Japan, and the Philippines, with the latter ending in a pretty controversial way.
You say goodbye, and I say hello.
Imelda Marcos, the then First Lady of the Philippines, threw a party at the presidential palace in honour of the Beatles and invited the group. But sticking with their policy of never attending official functions, their manager, Brian Epstein, declined the invitation on their behalf.
We got there and we got put into the transit lounge.
And then we got pushed around from one corner of the lounge to another, you know.
You treat like ordinary passenger, passenger, they say.
This infuriated Marcos, as well as thousands of citizens who attacked the Beatles as they tried to leave the country.
And so they started knocking over our road managers and things, and everyone was falling all over
They
the place.
started worrying you when the road manager got knocked over.
Yeah, and I swear there was 30 of them.
The group earned themselves an unspoken ban and never performed there again.
Cowardly anyway of them, because they were obviously, trying to make it rough for us and knew we couldn't do anything.
Miley Cyrus, China and Dominican Republic. Miley Cyrus's infamous transition from teen idol to adult singly, the incident that resulted in her ban from China, happened pre-2013 VMAs. Back in 2009, Cyrus took a picture with her friends squinting their eyes, in a way that was seen as offensive. The Chinese government subsequently banned her from entering the country and stopped the distribution of her TV show and films. As soon as she made the cross into adulthood, Cyrus's risque behaviour earned her a ban in the Dominican Republic. Officials there deemed her conduct as going against their morals and customs. So Snoop Dogg, the United Kingdom, Australia and Norway. Over the course of his career, the OG Snoop Dogg has faced quite a number of bans. In 2006, he was prevented from entering the UK after he caused a scene at London's Heathrow Airport. Apparently, an airline refused to allow all of his entourage into a first-class lounge.
Look, man, we ain't got time for this shit right now.
His multiple arrests and convictions painted him in a bad light for Australian authorities, who prevented him from entering the country in 2007 for this reason. Then, to top it all off, the rapper received a 2-year ban from Norway in 2012, when he was caught trying to sneak cannabis into the country. Snoop reportedly took it in stride, proving that when he's high, no one can ever bring him down.
On the pigs try to get at you. Park it like it's hard, park it like it's hard, park it like it's hard.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Beyoncé, Malaysia.
I knew it would come to this.
From her rousing dance routines to her controversial performances, Beyoncé has always sparked discussions over everything she does and wears. But while most of these have been limited to online spaces, the Southeast Asian country of Malaysia took things to another level.
I got hot sauce in my bed. I see it, I want it, I stuck it, I want it.
The predominantly Muslim country placed a ban on the acclaimed performer as they considered her to be too provocative for their moral standards. Queen Bee was scheduled to perform her debut concert in Kuala Lumpur in 2007, but ultimately had to cancel it. According to Malaysian guidelines, female artists must dress conservatively to be allowed to perform on stage.
You are completely delusional.
But as Beyoncé is a dedicated artist, not willing to compromise her performance, she remains persona non grata.
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from Peak 22. And be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.